Alright, so been a pretty productive past few weeks. On top of that, getting geared up for releasing Battlespace into early access here in the middle of March. Already setting good to go on that, but I figured today we'll give a little bit of a studio update and look at the progress made on the roadmap here. I'll just start checking things off. For the most part, there hasn't been too much movement on studio concerns. Part of that is because as a studio we're in a little bit of a holding pattern until we can get the tech demo in a better place, and then we'll start putting together a pitch deck and working on getting basically all of the documentation needed to look at. I've found 2 investors who might be good options for us, and so part of this tech demo effort is basically getting all the documentation together to send off to those prospective clients or prospective personnel. Alright, so video stuff to the side. Let's go ahead and dive into this here. Alright, I think that'll be fine for the time being. Alright, so still working on the multi-sector or multi-biome sector map. Right now it's only got 2 primary biomes. I'm waiting to see what happens with these plugins that I've got or that I'm using, where I've reached out to the plugin developers to determine what some of the shortcomings are and what would be useful for not just my project, but generally anybody's project. Most of the character system here is ready. Wounded still need to work on. Basic inventory system done. We're not saving anything just yet. I'm gonna go ahead and cross this part out. Picking up items and placing them down is done. Respawning at checkpoints. We don't have any checkpoints in just yet, but loot chests are done. Mountable creatures. Shooting from mounts is done. Ground vehicle rig with art. Passenger driver position is done. These other 2 need to be done still. Fixed wing vehicle rig with art. Pilot's position. Taxi movement. Takeoff and landing is done. Underworld biome, we'll just go ahead and cross off the alien ruins because that's big. If I can get some of the changes made to the plugins that I'm using, the rest of the overworld biomes will come together pretty quickly, because I'm literally just waiting on some key changes there before I can make a move on how best to proceed with that stuff. I've already gotten the biomes worked out. I just need to have them blend together better. And the one plugin that I'm using has limitations on how many terrain layers it can use, and the other plugin I'm using is doubling up on terrain layers, where ideally it would only use, in an ideal scenario, it would only use the terrain layers as like single layers and not recreate the same layer just because it needs to. but it is what it is. We'll see if we can get it changed. If not, hopefully the other plugin developer will be able to increase the total number of layers that I can use. But yeah, this is basically where we are for phase 1, and it's coming together pretty good. This also includes, throw this in here, let's see here, full featured character movement, or character controller, with origin shifting. Included. That's a pretty big big step right there. Means that our here. Means that our map could now accommodate for all, or the movement system could now accommodate all 40 kilometers of play space without too much trouble. Origin shifting still a little rough around the edges. Still trying to get some of that worked out, and there will need to be additional systems tied in to the origin shifting, so that like when new enemies or creatures spawn in and out of the play space, we can add those to the origin shifting list. The way I have origin shifting set up is, rather than doing an origin shift every single frame or every single time the character moves, we only shift the world origin so that the player is at the 0. We only shift that origin. Radius right now is 5,000 meters. So if you go outside of 5,000 meters, we'll move the player back to the world origin 0 point and shift the entire environment around the player. So, yeah, pretty hefty operation, but you know, it's only ever happening. It absolutely needs to happen. So, rather than every single frame, some games do it every single frame, but we're doing it only once every 5,000 meters of movement, assuming you've left the 5,000 meter radius. So that's finally implemented. Mounts with cargo, that's probably going to be after this, or after this bit here. 2-player mounts. I don't really have anything that's like compatible for 2 players just yet. So at least not in terms of like creature artwork. I just don't have any creature artwork for something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to underline this, the box around it. This is tentative. Yeah. So that will depend upon whether or not I can get a creature that is capable of carrying more than 2 people. Or more than 1 person, I should say. Passenger position with ability to shoot from it should be a pretty easy setup. I just haven't gotten around to it. And turret mounted position, that will be the interesting one, because that's one of those things that's like, you know, that's going to require adding a whole new rig to the game. Whereas mountable creatures was already part of the plugin that I was using. Same with most of the movement stuff, it just needed to be hooked up. The ground vehicle rig with art, that was actually a very simple physics-based rig that I found on Unity Asset Store for like $5. I just need to get the artwork into it. Fixed wing vehicle rig, that's literally the code from Frontiers Reach 1 that's been ported over. The weapon systems code will come with that. The VTOL rig with art and ability to carry ground vehicles. I need artwork for that, and then of course all the different seating positions. I may be able to reuse the fixed wing vehicle rig from Frontiers Reach 1 for this and just write some new code to control how that rig works. I've done a lot of optimization on the art or on the code that's coming over from Frontiers Reach 1 for the vehicle rigs. To include a mounting power up and power down system. So when you get into a fighter for the first time, you have to power it on. It will not power on automatically right now. You have to do that manually. Part of that is it's a little bit of a safety feature. It's to keep you from like basically just jumping out of the vehicle willy-nilly. But there will be an eject feature added once I get the cockpit interior finished out and get an ejection seat into the fighter. All stuff I still have to add. But right now the landing gear system is working, the basic movement system is working, so you can taxi to the runway. You can hop in, power it up, taxi it to the runway, take off, raise the landing gear, lower the landing gear, land, power it down, and then hop out. No weapon systems to speak of just yet. I have some things on that front I need to get done. We're quite ready for that. Excuse me. I had a late night last night. Gone. But overall, this is, I mean, it's phase 1 is really starting to come together, and I've organized everything into I don't want to say a story, but it's like a short walkthrough of like an intro, so that when you go into the game, you'll have, or when you go into the tech demo on March 1st, which is when the first build of the real tech demo will be out, you'll have the ability to basically play through a little bit of an experience based in the Frontiers Reach 2 environment. This is probably going to be the big one right here. Phase 2. I've probably said this before, but there's just a lot here that needs to be done. Like I've got some enemy soldier AI in there right now, but it's very, very simple. So lots of good things happening. Made a lot of great progress. We'll keep making progress. I'm gonna go ahead and save this. This will be my checklist. I'll bring this up. Talk about this on these updates when there's not too much studio stuff going on. Until next time, take care.